The White House hits the pause button on approving new natural gas exports. President Biden writing in a statement, this is what we had from him. We'll take a hard look at the impacts of LNG exports on energy costs, America's energy security, and our environment. Now, this pause on new LNG approvals sees the climate crisis for what it is, the existential threat of our time. Interesting time to make this decision. Kayleigh Lyons is in D.C. Will Kennedy is in London. Kayleigh, good day to you. This is a very interesting political moment to make a call like this. Bold and differentiating. Your take.
Yeah, Manus, it's interesting that this move is happening in an election year, and this is really the launch of a process that could take months, lead us up potentially to that election in November that is now just over 9.5 months away. Essentially what the Energy Department is doing here is analyzing energy, climate impact, economic impact, national security impact of these exports, because the current assumptions that they are using in this approval process haven't been updated since 2018. And officials say that there is evolving information on how exactly methane burning is impacting global warming, essentially. So that is what they're reanalyzing here. This is a process they are not putting a firm timeline on, but they have indicated it could take months. They're going to do it expeditiously. It's not going to affect current levels of LNG exports. It's not going to disrupt projects that have already gotten approval, but it could potentially delay approval for other projects that are out there. The real political calculation here for the president is a difficult one. On the one hand, there is pressure from the left, from environmentalists, to consider climate change more heavily, and the concern being that if you are putting infrastructure, long-term projects together for exporting LNG, that means you're going to be weaning off of it way later. This is something that's going to be taking place for generations to come, potentially. Then there's the pressure on the right to not put climate ahead of American jobs and the overall U.S. economy. So it's a very difficult calculation here. Clearly, though, this is something the administration is moving forward with. There's also the question about what ramifications it may have geopolitically, as the U.S. has made a commitment to help Europe essentially not be dependent on Russian gas in particular because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And there's a question as to how much this could disrupt those efforts, Manus.
Yep. Kayleigh, thank you very much. As you say, those promises to Europe have massive political reverberations. Mr. Kennedy, how are you doing? Not only have you got OPEC to contend with, this must be music to the ears of the Qataris. I mean, they're side by side. They are with the U.S. in terms of the #1 exporter. So if the U.S. steps back, it's hello market share for the Qataris.
That's exactly right, because the Qataris are going full steam ahead to increase their export capacity by about 60% over the next few years, and they're looking to sell that gas around the world, including to Europe. I do think the decision, as Kayleigh said, will be a major concern in Europe. Europe has successfully stopped importing Russian pipeline gas, but it's only been able to do that because of the flow of US LNG. And if those exports are capped at a lower level than people were expecting, that means that gas is going to be more expensive than it may well have been, and that will be good for Qatar, but another blow to the European economy, which is struggling to compete with other parts of the world on energy costs.